Brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says the city faces a $1.1 billion budget gap in 2026, calling it a point of no return.
The systems that people rely upon, education, healthcare, housing, our transportation, they are woefully underfunded, and everyone knows that.
He blames a new pension law signed by Governor Pritzker and urges the state to adopt progressive revenue solutions. Tennessee executed Black 69-year-old Byron Black by lethal injection for a 1988 triple murder. Despite concerns over a heart device, the execution proceeded. Victims' relatives were present at Riverbend Prison. And New York rapper Fabio Foreign is free after serving 196 days in jail for making terroristic threats. He was sentenced to time served and 3 years probation. His attorney says the deal avoided a possible 20-year sentence. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
This year marks 20 years since Hurricane Katrina changed our city and our schools forever. New Schools for New Orleans is sharing After the Storm, a special series reflecting on the past 2 decades of change and progress in public education. Through videos, personal stories, and a powerful interactive timeline and data dashboard, we explore how our schools recovered, transformed, grew, and what that progress means for our students today. Discover the videos, data, resources, and stories behind the 20 years of change at newschoolsforneworleans.org/Katrina20.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
To the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, Nyron Sanders, and my co-host, Will Sutton, is on the phone. He's calling in from the National Association of Black Journalists Conference.
Good morning, New Orleans.
It is Thursday, and as you know, each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK, and I'm excited to talk to our congressman, especially in the wake of the impending closure of Planned Parenthood. He released a full statement that I wanted to share on air, but I said, why not just wait until the next day? So he will be here on the phone lines, and if you want to join that conversation, the number is 504-582-9422. As you guys know, I have been moderating the election panels for Step Up for Action, and on last night, Council District C, which is that coveted area that is in the midst of that French Quarter sanitation dispute, as well as Algiers in the French Quarter area, to be more specific. That is the representation for that area, and it was the incumbent Freddie King, challenger Kelsey Foster, and challenger Mr. Kimbrough. Mr. Kimbrough had a couple technical issues, but we were able to work through it and push through it, and it was, by all intents and purposes, a very concise, informative forum, although it was virtual. And so there were a number of topics, anything from sanitation to bike lanes, crime, of course, which the incumbent made a point to say that crime is down in his district, but he's still working to ensure that crime stays down as one of his platform initiatives. Kelsey Foster came to the table with a number of ideas in terms of how to make District C more fiscally responsible from her purview. She says she's a numbers girl. And Mr. Kimbrough had quite a few platform stances that he took that align with some of the things that the incumbent does, some of the things that his challenger Kelsey Foster does, but some new ideas in terms of how to make the district more efficient. So if you missed that opportunity to log into that virtual forum and you are a member of Council District C, you can go on to Step Up for Action social media platform, because I am told that it was streamed, and that's where you will find it. But what's new in the NABJ neighborhood, Will Sutton?
Oh man, it's we got off to a strong start yesterday. There's more action happening today and the rest of the week. We heard from Cleveland, the city of Cleveland's youngest ever mayor, 30-something years old. Brother was dynamic at the opening program. We also saw the black performers from Caramoo House, which I did not know about. Caramoo House is a black theater production company founded in Cleveland, and it's more than 100 years old. They've been around for more than a century, producing strong community, local, regional, and even national talent. And those brothers and sisters were powerful. One brother did a Barack Obama piece. One sister did a Kamala Harris piece. Then they also did some singing and recitations, which was wonderful as a group. And so this was not slapstick comedy stuff that you might expect at some openings where it's like we're here to have a good time. This was knowledge and information to take in the process, and they used some actual words from Barack Obama's talk when he was elected president, and Kamala Harris words when she was elected vice president and Joe Biden was elected president. And to hear those words on the stage so well articulated and presented by those folks in the context of what's happening in 2025, I don't know if other people in the audience process it this way. It was like, this is where we could be and where we could be going versus what we're dealing with now. So that was fantastic. And out of the 44 founders of the organization, the organization founded 50 years ago, so there were some young members at that time and some older members, and we've lost a number who have passed on. But we have, I don't know the updated count, but we have at least 10 to 15 of the original founders present at this 50th anniversary convention, and that's like living history for those of us in NABJ and in the various communities where they have lived and worked and done work in journalism and media, but also outside of. So, most of these people are known in their communities for being an active part of their communities. And people know their names. They're used to seeing them at events or maybe moderating something like you do. And they're, in and of their communities. Even after they have left their full-time careers, they're still active and engaged. So it was wonderful to see them. And, of course, it was always wonderful to see my NABJ family and friends and to meet new folks. Like I'm sitting here right now with Tabu, who is a young Nabu. I'm sorry, Tabu. Nabu, who is a young professional from Los Angeles, worked in Tennessee for a while. And I just met her here. And she's asking me questions. I'm answering her questions, and that's one of the things that we do. And it's like, okay, you go move on to the next person. She said, no, not enough. And I said, are you going to listen? So she's here now helping, and she's sticking and staying with me and I have a handful of young folks. Whatever I can do to help them move along, that's a part of what we do in NABJ. And we got some great challenges from leadership yesterday. Yes, we're going to have a good time, and we're going to have the party and all of that. But we are here to develop ourselves individually and collectively, and to look at what's going on across the country, and to bring our Black perspectives into this coverage and to speak up. Because there are people here who are very concerned about their jobs, where they work, and how their stations are bending and twisting according to the national winds. So that would be my summary at this point. There's more, but I know we got a lot of other things happening in the news, and we got Congressman Carter coming up, and I'm glad that you're continuing your strong role as moderator for these important campaign community events, because it's so important that our community be engaged and have the opportunity to see and hear and maybe ask a question about what a candidate's previous experience has been, what their records are, and what are their ideas that are in sync with an incumbent, or what would they do differently? What would they, I mean, if somebody wants to replace an incumbent, what will we get that we're not getting now? And I'm sure you got to that. I mean, your description of it sounds wonderful. I realize virtue is different, but I'm sure it had some of the same flavor that I got by attending some and watching others, the recordings online.
Well, yeah, I always take great pride in moderating these events just to ensure that the candidates have the best opportunity to put their platforms forward. And again, I can't have an opinion one way or the other. I just have to ask the questions, keep the time, make certain that the decorum is there, and that's how we move forward. My goal is to make certain that our voting populace is informed. That's the goal of moderating panels, is informed so that you make the best decision. I am a child of Algiers. I love my community. I love my area, born and raised there, went to school there. So it's important that we get the best representation to ensure that we protect the fabric of this city. That's, to me, is the goal of this election. Early voting starts September 27th. It ends October 7th. Election day is October 11th. We're asking you to please make certain that you check your voter registration status. Sometimes you are purged and you don't even know it. Check your status. Make certain that you are on the roll. When you go to vote, bring somebody with you. Vote early so that you don't have to wait until the 11th. Anything can happen between September 27th and October 11th, but at least your vote will be counted. So if you don't get an opportunity between September 27th and October 4th, your last opportunity is October 11th. There's a lot of buzz in the air surrounding our this election season. A lot of buzz from the mayoral seat all the way down to our clerk seats. There are folk vying for your vote. Some of the incumbents have some real challenges to their seat. And for me, if that doesn't do anything, it forces the incumbents to get serious about the state of this city, the conditions that we are living in this city. It forces them to actually put a real plan and platform together to earn our vote. So if nothing else, a serious challenger forces our incumbents to be serious, and I'm all for it. If you are what is best for the city, put your best platform forward and let the best person get the votes and represent us. That's all I want. I don't really care about anything that is historically the way we've done things, because guess what? Historically, the way we've done things hasn't changed the current outcomes that we're living in right now. So if we want better, we have to vote better. We have to put people in seats to do their best for us. If that is the incumbent, cool, then check the box for the incumbent. If you feel that that is a challenger and they present the best option for your community, your children, your household, your neighbors to thrive, then make the best informed choice. I think that is the purpose of these forums and these panels. And I knew the mayoral symposium, it looked like it was a very well-attended one. It seemed like it was a great opportunity for the mayoral candidates to tell us who they are and what they're going to do. But there's also a story out there, Will, about who's running folks' campaigns. Do you think it matters who runs your campaign?
I think it definitely matters because I think there are a couple of things that matter or should matter when you're looking at a candidate who is an incumbent or who is seeking office or is seeking a different office. And I'm glad James Finn did that story at NOLA.com. You know, if you're a candidate, some candidates choose not to have a campaign manager, but they have people close to them, so it's more of a campaign team. If you choose to have a campaign manager, if you choose to have a campaign finance director, if you choose to have a campaign strategist, and you know you're giving folks official titles with or without pay, but particularly if you're choosing someone and it's for pay from your campaign funds, that is making one of your first and most important decisions as a candidate. So who the candidate chooses should also give us a chance to say, or yay, or if we don't know them, find out about them. What have they been doing in the past? And what is their connection to that particular candidate at this moment or recently? And take that into consideration as you're considering the candidate. So I'm not saying someone can have, they could be my number one candidate, but they choose somebody that I would not have chosen as campaign manager. But because of somebody that I would not have chosen, it might give me pause and ask, why would you have done that? Explain it to me. Because I've been inclined to go with you, Miss or Mr. So-and-so, but this is giving me pause. Help me understand. I would like to understand your logic. I'd probably like to stick and stay with you, but I haven't voted yet. So give me some context. And then in some other cases, we see people who have been around quite a while and you like dynamic choice. But in a number of cases, people don't know these folks unless they're more engaged with the community as you are. And so that's an important choice. And then other is money, who you decide to accept money from and you do not.
Well, that's where I'm going with this. I think more than who you choose to run your campaign, I think where your money comes from is the next question that folk are concerning themselves with. But aside from that, talking about how much is in your coffers, Helena Moreno holds a wide cash lead over other major candidates with $1.7 million in her campaign account as of the July deadline. Of the other three major candidates, which is Oliver Thomas, has raised the most money with nearly $320,000 banked since entering the race. Moreno raised $474,000 during a period from April to early July, detailed in the latest round of campaign finance reports. In the 4 days between his announcement and the close of reporting period, July 3rd, Duplessis raised $19,309, his report shows. Since January, his campaign bought in $165,000. Hunter has launched his campaign last year with no cash on hand, but from April to July, he raised $125,000. Now, there are stories out there where the ability to raise money is starting to affect one of these candidates, so much so that there are talks about if this candidate is going to stay in the race. When that story shapes up, I will share it. The reason we're talking about it right now is because we do know that it takes money to run campaigns. It takes money to win elections. We might not like the setup. We might not like the way it goes, but it goes like that. In order for you to touch the most people, have your name put out there, go into the most communities, knock on the most doors, have your things mailed out, put on, it costs money. It costs money. And sadly, oftentimes, some of our grassroots folk who are running for office may not have coffers that have that kind of money in it. But at the end of the day, it requires money to run for and secure a seat as big as the mayoral seat. There are outliers where the person who raised the most money doesn't always win. There are outliers. But by and large, you need money to be able to put up a very viable campaign. You can have the best platform. You can have some great ideas. But if you're not out there touching the people, they don't see you. They can't hear from you. You can't make your way into all of these different spaces. It becomes very difficult. So that's why money is important. Should it be? That's a story for another day, but it is. And currently, that's where the money is standing. Moreno has $1.7 million. Oliver Thomas has $320,000. Duplessis has nearly 20 grand raised in a very short span of time. But he's bought in $165,000 thus far, and Hunter is sitting at $125,000. That is as of the July financial reports. Numbers may have changed because it is August. But there you have it. We're gonna keep talking about it because this election is very critical and very crucial to the viability of our city. And so we'll keep talking about it. But as we all know, Thursdays around here are set aside for our Congressman Troy Carter. And we'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll hear directly from the Congressman himself right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. First up, a reminder to take it slow on the road as more students return to class this morning. St. John, St. James, and Terrebonne Parish all start the new school year today. Students in Orleans Parish began their back-to-school journey on Monday with a staggered start. Then a building in the Lower Garden District is set to be demolished after partially collapsing along Magazine Street yesterday afternoon. That building near Grigri and Lily's is the second building to collapse in the area in less than a year. Another building collapsed on the same block last December. No one was hurt in either incident. Finally, 2 court cases we're keeping a close eye on this morning. Daniel Callahan will be rearraigned today, and sources say he could take a plea deal. Callahan is accused of killing and kidnapping a La Roger mother and her daughter last June. He's scheduled to be in federal court in New Orleans at 2 p.m. Also in court this week, Antoine Massey, one of the 10 inmates who escaped from the Orleans Parish Jail back in May. His attorney is requesting a speedy trial. The prosecution must now file a response to that request before a pretrial hearing, which is scheduled for this Friday. Right now, his trial for the escape is scheduled for October. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month, we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, Nyron Sanders, and my co-host, calling in from Cleveland, Ohio at the National Association of Black Journalists, Mr. Will Sutton.
Good morning, New Orleans.
But it is Thursday, y'all, and as you know, each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK, and we have none other than our Congressman Troy Carter on the line with us this morning. Good morning, Congressman. How are you?
Good morning, my good people. How are you today?
We're great. How are you?
Fabulous.
Fantastic.
Listen, on yesterday, I kind of prepped the folk because I know that Governor Landry and his administration were championing the closure of Planned Parenthood, and I know you put a statement out. I wanted to share it, but I said the congressman is coming tomorrow. I'll let him talk about that your response to the impending closure of Planned Parenthood. But we can start wherever you want. I just wanted to put that on your radar that I did get your response, but I wanted to wait to have a conversation with you so we can share it to our listening audience.
Yeah, we can talk about it now, and thank you very much for bringing that up. You know, they're running around high-fiving and celebrating like they've won the Super Bowl because they've shut down a lifeline for many people. An opportunity for people to have health care. Planned Parenthood provides a myriad of services to people in Louisiana. They think somehow that this is some victory. Well, there's no victory associated with turning people away who need to have access to health care. Planned Parenthood has been a loving source, a lifeline in our community, in the metropolitan area of New Orleans, throughout our state of Louisiana, in our rural communities. Black, white, and other have utilized the services of Planned Parenthood. Yet, under this big ugly law and the policies of the Trump administration, and now Governor Landry and the administration seem to think this is a victory, and I think it's absolutely disgusting, because it's anything but a victory. Yet it is another demonstration of the callous lack of concern for the lives of people.
Yeah, and on yesterday, Congressman, I also made the note of the HIV and STD cases between New Orleans and Baton Rouge are skyrocketing. And this is something that Planned Parenthood focused on, was the STI testing, STD testing, even cancer screenings and other health care services. So it's not just about this idea of abortion that everybody's trying to tie to Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood has a lot of other services that are provided to ensure that communities are safe. And with the closure of it, where are these people
that are
going to go?
actually way above and beyond. But what they think is simply, when they think Planned Parenthood, they think, oh, abortion.
Right.
Well, that's actually a smaller part of what they do, as far as providing people opportunities. Planned Parenthood does not provide abortions. You can't, that's not their hallmark. There's so many other things that they do, as you just mentioned.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting that they have never been licensed to provide abortions in the state of Louisiana. So I don't even understand how we're tying abortions to Planned Parenthood and championing the closure of it in the state of Louisiana, when the very thing you're trying to target is not even what they're licensed to provide. It just seems out of place there. But I'm just thinking about the much needed healthcare services.
It's misplaced anger. It's misplaced hate. It's ignorance caught up in the blinding of hatred. Planned Parenthood has had a history of providing resources to underserved communities and a whole host of health concerns, as you mentioned, for STIs, for breast cancer, for cancer, not only for women, men and women have enjoyed the resources and services of Planned Parenthood.
And Melanie Linton, who is the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast, she's calling it political warfare on the nonprofit that forced its closure.
I think she's accurate. It's political warfare on every level. And if you think about what's happening in our country, we're fighting multiple battles at every single level. If you look at, they have their little minions that have infiltrated every part of the federal government, and like termites are eating from the inside out to try to dismantle public education, to take away health care from literally millions of Americans, to reverse the effects of resources that have been put in place to push back against environmental injustice, to take away the gains that we've made in the area of science. Every day, it's something new. And listen, both of you, Will and Dr. Wyatt, will recall, because you were there with me, as we went around and we preached to everyone the importance of voting, because this Project 2025 was real, and that they were plotting and planning, and they're very methodical. And what we're now seeing is the very methodical execution of a very evil plan of Project 2025. And we've got to continue to be vigilant. We have to continue to push back, to fight against it. That's why I'm grateful to have this opportunity on WBOK to talk about and to make sure our people are aware, and we stay informed, organized, and we continue to push back.
And talking about pushing back and ensuring that we stay informed, you're getting ready to prep for yet another town hall in Jefferson Parish. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes. So we've had we were having town halls literally around the clock throughout the entire district. We had two roundtable discussions yesterday. We had a roundtable discussion with our university presidents to talk about the impacts of cuts to higher education, followed by a second roundtable that we had with our housing advocates, which to hear and listen and talk about how we're going to push back against the cuts to housing opportunities for many of our nonprofits who do an incredible job at helping our unhoused become housed. They were phenomenal. We were blessed to have great experts on both of those panels to talk about the impacts of this big, ugly law. And on August 11th, Monday, we will be having yet another town hall. This will be in West Jefferson town hall meeting at First Zion Baptist Church, 1221 South Causeway Boulevard from 4 to 7, where we will again have an opportunity to meet with residents throughout the district. This will be on the east bank of Jefferson Parish to talk about what this law does. It's a law now, so it's no longer a bill; it's the law. And we are going to continue to educate people on what we have to do to protect ourselves against portions of the law, break it down, to go into some of the finer details, to talk about who might be impacted, what we can do to protect you, and also our proactive stand of assuring the people that we're going to work closely with them to keep them informed as it gets closer to implementation. And the part that when I mentioned implementation, it's important to note the Republicans were very slick when they passed this big, ugly law. The implementation of these effects won't happen until after midterm, until after the midterm elections. Why? Not because they were creating ramp-up time. The reason that they pushed it back, and we got to keep talking about this, is they want people at election time to not feel any pain. They want to be able to say, see, the Democrats are saying all this stuff is going to happen to you, but you haven't lost your Medicaid. You haven't lost anything. Why? Because none of those effects happen until after the midterm elections. They've intentionally front-loaded so it's going to happen, or back-loaded so it happens after the elections. That's why we have to keep talking, keep informing people, reminding them of the slick trickery and the pure hatefulness of passing these ugly laws and then push them, their implementation, past their own reelection.
Yeah, and see, that's the danger. We talked about that on the air here, that they won't be able to tie the action to the outcome because it's not going into effect right now. So that's the point that I think we need to keep driving home, because it's not going to resonate with the folk who are actually inside of his base. They're not going to tie their loss of Medicaid or their loss of SNAP benefits to their president, because it won't happen until there's another election happening. So they're going to find a way to blame that on the Democrats as well.
Correct. It's another one of their methods of watch my left hand while I pickpocket you with my right.
Yeah.
And it's all subterfuge. It's flood the zone, keep you busy watching, looking, doing this while they're ripping you off on the other side. And so that's why we have you, Dr. Wyatt. That's why we you, our brother Sutton, to continue to provide a venue for us to feed knowledge and information to the people that we love, and to assure them that we're going to get through this. We're a resilient people. We're one thing's for certain: we're not going to quit, we're not going to run, and we're not scared.
And you also.
And meanwhile,
go ahead, Will.
Go ahead. Meanwhile, over in Texas, they're taking some rather dramatic moves to try to create districts where they do not exist, clearly with an understanding and a fear that with the current districts that they would lose a majority. And so that's drastic measures, call for drastic actions. What are you hearing from your colleagues?
Well, we're embracing those Democrats from the great state of Texas, embracing them in their act of civil disobedience to flee the state in order to deny a quorum, which disallows them from doing what we believe is grossly unconstitutional. What they're attempting to do is because they know that the people's will be carried out, that Republicans are going to lose seats in the midterm because of the horrible things they've done. So instead of them facing the facts and going out and defending their ill actions, they're attempting now to redraw the congressional lines in Texas to eliminate to eliminate Democratic seats. So what they're doing is they're going into places where Democrats are, redrawing the line, drawing them out of their districts and making their districts, instead of what they currently are, majority Republican, and makes it impossible for them to be reelected. That's their only way to win, is to cheat and to move the lines. But you can't do that without a quorum. So our brave members of the Texas legislature left Texas and are denying them the opportunity to do that. And our prayers are with them. This is a John Lewis moment of good trouble, doing the right thing in a moment where their governor is threatening to arrest them and bring them back. We are embracing them and supporting them in every way possible, particularly from the Congressional Black Caucus standpoint, but also from the Democratic Caucus standpoint. We thank them for their courage and their willingness to do the right thing, even in the face of personal danger, because this governor and the Attorney General of Texas have made some very pointed threats against them.
Yeah, and the Texas Constitution actually enables quorum breaking by a minority faction of the legislature, but it likewise authorizes quorum forcing by the remaining members. I don't know if quorum forcing aligns with trying to put out arrest warrants for these legislators, but what does that actually mean, Congressman? What is quorum forcing? How far can you go to force a quorum?
Well, they seem to think, my idea of it and their idea, it's two different things. Their idea is that they think they can physically arrest you, handcuff you, drag you back to the chamber, and make you sit there like some dictatorship or some third world country. That our democracy doesn't matter, that you as a duly elected member of the legislature must do whatever the governor says. I think that's a far, far, far overreach. I think that the idea of having to have a quorum is a part of the Constitution and a part of the rules of most organizations. But to think that you can, at gunpoint, force me to come and sit in a meeting is a far stretch from what I think reality is.
And if for the benefit of our listening audience, if you're not aware of what's happening in Texas, the current congressional map drawn by a Republican-dominated legislature in 2021 netted 25 GOP seats in the last two elections. But after pressure from President Donald Trump, Governor Abbott directed lawmakers to redraw the map during the special legislative session, which started July 21st. So the Democrats, who are trying to ensure that the maps are not drawn to take away valued seats for the Democrats, they decided to do some good trouble and leave the state so that they won't have a quorum, so that they can't vote on what we know. It's almost unconstitutional, it feels like. But on the other hand,
it's certainly unconscionable.
Yeah,
it
right.
Is certainly a far, far departure from good governance and the way we do business.
And to that end, we were talking here about what Governor Newsom in California is threatening to do in response to what Governor Abbott is doing in Texas. So Governor Newsom is saying, if you can redistrict us out of seats, we could also do the same thing to you in California, with the caveat that it's going to force y'all, meaning the opposition, those on the other side of the aisle, to come to the table to do what is right for the citizenry. The governor in California is not trying to do it for the sake of stealing seats. He's trying to do it in response to what Texas is doing to ensure that we protect those seats in Texas, and we also do what's right for the voting populace. What do you think about Governor Newsom's idea of what he wants to do in California to combat what is happening in Texas?
2 words. Damn right.
Hey, I can't ring the bell.
I love it when that LGS come out, Congressman.
I can't ring the bell, but I would on that one.
I love
Because
it when the
if
LGS comes out. Go ahead, Congressman.
if you can do it, we can do it.
Yeah.
You know, we have to demonstrate. Look, I love peace, but I know how to fight.
Come on.
And we can't always just look. Peace is a wonderful thing, but you can't let people walk over you either. And if they want to play at that level, if you want to deal from the bottom of the deck, well, we know how to do it too. So if you think you can get 5 in Texas, we'll get 20 in California, and then we'll go to New York and we'll pick up another 10. But I will tell you, it is a very bad way to govern. It's a very bad way to govern because what we end up having is this war of the roses, if you will, where our rule of law is diminished by party. By each time who's in power, we change the rules. A part of our governing strength of America has been that we have a set of rules that we play by no matter who's in charge. But Donald Trump doesn't want to play by those rules. He doesn't want to be a president. He wants to be a dictator. And so what do? Like Nazi Germany in 1933-34, you start breaking down all those walls. You start attacking military. You start attacking education. You start attacking the press. You start dividing and conquering. But you know what? If you want to play it, we'll play it too. And I think Governor Newsom and I think Governor Holcomb in New York are absolutely well within their rights to fire back.
So, Congressman, what happens should the Democrats be successful in waiting out the 30-day special session, which will expire in 2 weeks? What happens at that point? Say they do this and they go to 30 days and the session expires. What happens next?
They'll likely call another one. You know, it's going to be an ongoing battle. They'll likely call another session, and you know, I don't think they're going to go away that easily. Potentially, they can call another session. Hopefully, what they'll realize is that because the Democrats in California and in New York stepped up and said, "Okay, if you can do it, we can do it," then maybe they'll realize that okay, this isn't going to work, and they'll have to go back and find another way. They're going to lose. They're going to lose the House at midterms, and they're going to lose it because of what they've done. Donald Trump is definitely afraid of having to play fair. They can't stand it. The notion of having to defend positions instead of just ramming them down the throats of the American people is beyond their own comprehension. So they're going to try every single trick, and they're going to look at every way they can to make up for the losses they've caused for themselves with their bad policies that now they're recognizing. And I said now they recognize. Trump always knew. The idiots that followed him didn't know, but they're now having to jump off cliffs because he's asked them to, and he doesn't care if they die. They're realizing that the very people that they represent, that they see in the grocery store, that they go to church with, that their children go to school with, that the people that show up at their rallies and at their fundraisers, those people are being hurt too. And now they're having to hide. We're having town hall meetings every single week across this country. Democrats are, and Republicans are not. Republicans are not meeting their constituents because they don't want to answer the questions. Mike Flood was just on CNN the other day, a Republican member, and they booed him off stage because you cannot defend the indefensible. You cannot defend this big, ugly law. You just can't. There's no way you can put lipstick on this. You cannot. It's ugly, it's bad, and it's going to kill people.
Look, we have to go to break, but as you know, each and every Thursday is Congressman Charles Thursdays right here at WBOK. And if you want to join the conversation, the phone line is 504-582-9422. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll have more with our congressman. Stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
New Orleans, get ready to laugh. Join Inspire NOLA, K20, NSNO, and the Nord Commission, a free event for NOLA teachers, parents, and the community. Friday, August 15th at the Orpheum Theater, featuring comedians Frank White, Shady Feelgood, Rob Kazi, and Bruce, with performances by DJ Jubilee, the Big Six Brass Band, PNC, and Subtweet Sean, hosted by Tanya Boyd Cannon and Wild Wayne. Get your tickets and info at inspirenola.schools.org.
Fresh produce, local flavor, and a healthy you. New Orleans East Hospital is hosting a farmers market the last Wednesday of every month from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Join us in the parking lot across from the main entrance. Support local farmers and your wellness. We'll see you there. Got unpaid parking or camera tickets in New Orleans? Here's some good news. Through August 31st, you can take care of them without paying late fees. That's money back in your pocket. Just go to NOLA.gov/no late fees to see what you owe. You can pay all at once or sign up for a payment plan and break it into monthly payments at no extra cost. That's NOLA.gov/no late fees. NOLA.gov/no late fees. Don't miss out. This offer ends August 31st.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank. There's freedom here.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And we are back, and it is Thursday. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, Nara Sanders, and my co-host, calling in from Cleveland, Ohio, at the National Association of Black Journalists, Mr. Will Sutton.
The land. Good morning.
Listen, the most important person right now, because it's Thursday, is Congressman Troy Carter. Thursdays here at WBOK, and our congressman is on the line. And if you want to join the conversation, the number is 504-582-9422. Congressman, before we jump to the EPA, we have a caller on line 3. Good morning, Ms. Jones. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. You're on with Congressman Troy Carter.
Thank you, Congressman, for being here every Thursday and each and every time. You're very much appreciated. The only thing I could say about those Republicans, did they not study American history, civics, who were the enemy countries to follow Donald Trump? Donald Trump knows less than he would ever know. Don't they understand what kind of tea or Kool-Aid did he give them? It's really blindness and crazy.
You are correct, ma'am. It's amazing the level of faith they put in this man.
It is.
I don't know if it's faith or if it's fear. Faith, fear, stupidity, maybe all of them.
You take lies, make it truth, and truth he'll sprinkle with lies on it. They don't get it. Now they're ready to jump off the cliff, and they're still not seeing it. What is it? They couldn't have studied anything in the line of civics. Did they get civics in high school? American government? The history of Russia? Russia has never been a friend of the United States, but yet still this man is very close, more close than it really appears. We had that in those courses in high school when it was segregated and learned more than they ever know. But we appreciate
There's a reason
you
that they don't want you to
very
learn
much
that
for coming
anymore.
on every Thursday. We appreciate you, Dr. Wyatt, Will Sutton. You're very informative, and you're very strong. Take care of yourselves also.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. I appreciate the
God
call.
bless you, Ms. Jones. Thank you for calling and thank you for listening.
Go ahead, Congressman.
I was just saying thank you, Ms. Jones. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling in.
So, Congressman, I have a question. I know we want to talk about the EPA's plan to cancel the $7 billion in solar energy grants, but because of Ms. Jones's call, here is my question: do you believe that the Republicans are somehow working on a coup as it relates to their current president? Because there's been conversations about them actually wanting J.D. Vance to be the president with all of this money that's being that's backing J.D. Vance, all the money that actually got him into the vice president seat. Do you believe that is part of the plan, where they're allowing him to do all of these things and to go so far outside of what the Constitution allows for, because they're also staging some sort of response to him as well?
Evil people do evil things. So I don't put anything past any of them. I don't generally subscribe to the conspiracy theory notion of evil people and how they think, but I will tell you that nothing is beyond the pale when it comes to what they might do to maintain control and power. They're power hungry. They want to own this nation. They want to reverse the gains. They want to undo freedoms. So anything is possible. I know this. They are a den of thieves. They are all eating at each other within that whole MAGA group. That MAGA group of the most extreme, and I'm not talking about all Republicans. I'm talking about that core of the evil thinkers and activators of Project 2025. And then the other Republicans are complicit at best, because if you do nothing to stop evil, you then are evil.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Congressman. So before we let you go, as I know your schedule is tight, I know you're busy, can you just talk to our listening audience about this plan to cancel $7 billion in solar energy grants, and what does that mean for the constituents?
Yeah, before I go to that, I mentioned the 2 roundtables that we did yesterday. I also want to go back and talk about the environmental justice roundtable we did the day before that.
Mm-hmm.
On Monday, I did an environmental justice roundtable with some of our noted leaders like General Honore and Ms. Levine from Rice St. James. We also had in town to make a presentation Lawyers for Good Government. Lawyers for Good Government, or L4GG, discussed pending litigation against EPA on behalf of community organizations that had nearly $3 billion with a B dollars taken away environmental justice grants. The Center for Deep South Justice right here in Louisiana, a number of groups throughout New Orleans, Dillard University, and so many others, the City of New Orleans, so many others had grants taken away that we had appropriated. And we're pushing and fighting back against that. We had that town hall style round hall discussion to talk about it. But then in the midst of that, literally while we were working on this, federal government was releasing a plan to cancel some $7 billion in solar grants. Grants that had been awarded to communities right here in Louisiana. The state of Louisiana will lose $156 million that had been awarded to the state and groups that had applied with the state for these federal dollars to assist with solar. This is huge. You may recall several years ago, I gave the first amount of funding to start the community lighthouse programs in Broadmoor. Then I think we put $3.9 million to kick that off. The city came in with, I think, $1 million, and then others came. But then the Secretary of Energy, Secretary Granholm, at my invitation, came to Louisiana, saw and was so impressed with this that we started looking at how we can do these all over the city, all over the state, and yet all over the country. Now this White House, through the President Trump, is calling back and clawing back $7 billion in solar energy grants that will not only create economic opportunity, it will not only save on people's utility bills by lowering costs, it also protects our environment. It gives us an opportunity to sustain this one earth that we have while protecting lives, protecting people, creating jobs and opportunities. Yet another one of those policies that make absolutely no sense why you would cut back something as clean and as fair as solar energy for people throughout the state of Louisiana. And let me also mention that governors from every state across the country applied for these dollars. Red states, blue states, purple states, everyone. This president simply is on a collision course with our democracy.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
dangerous.
that's really unfortunate. And I like to point this out that when we say nationally, locally, that Congress is on break, this is a perfect example of what is actually happening on recess. It does not mean you all are taking 3, 4, or 5 weeks off. You're working in the district.
I'm glad you mentioned that because people say we're in recess. I've had town hall meetings every day. We have roundtable discussions every day. We're in the district. When we're home, listen, we're in Washington working around the clock, and people think that you go back, you get to just go home and chill. No, we get home. We've got to show up, show out. I'm throughout the state every single day at functions, events, meetings, town halls, round tables, curbside, because people deserve to see the action of their elected officials. And when we're home, we're rushing trying to be as many places that we can't be when we're in D.C. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Brother Will. Recess was for the second and third grade. Recess is not go out and play for 4 months. Recess is come home and work.
Congressman, I don't think you can help it. Your LGS just comes on out. I'm telling you, and I love it. You say recess is for the kids. Everybody should be working, especially with how serious this big, ugly bill is and the implications of it. Everybody should be working around the clock to ensure that people are made aware of the ramifications that they voted for, unfortunately.
That's a fact. But, thank God that you every single Thursday and beyond, I say on Thursdays, but I know you talk about it every day.
Yes.
The importance of keeping our people educated and informed. And to all the listeners out there, I can't tell you how much I appreciate us having this time to have an exchange. And when I'm in church, when I'm in the community, when I'm in the grocery store, it warms my heart when someone comes up and they say, "Oh, Congressman, I listen to you every Thursday on WBOK. Thank you for being there with us." I want you to know I may not get a chance to see every one of you, but I want you to know how much I appreciate and love the fact that we're a part of this family and this team together, and we are going to get through this.
Well, we thank you each and every Thursday for availing yourselves to us. I know you're busy, and even though you're technically supposed to be on some sort of break, you are working around the clock to ensure that the constituency are well informed. So I thank you for your service to this community and to the state of Louisiana, and we look forward to talking to you each and every Thursday. But thank you so much. We wish you the best, and whatever you're doing to keep us safe, we appreciate you here at WBOK.
God bless you all. God bless WBOK.
Thank you, Congressman. Look, we have to go to break, but when we come back, we'll talk to students from the National Association of Black Journalists, Leah Clark. She's a Xavier student, XU, and Morgan Norris from Hampton University, HU. They're talking about the future of journalism and representation at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. We will be back on the other side of the break with more. I hope you keep listening because we're going to keep talking. Stay with us right here. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump says there's a good chance he'll meet with Vladimir Putin soon as his ceasefire deadline with Russia nears.
We had some very good talks with President Putin, and there's a very good chance that we could be ending the end of that road.
After a 3-hour meeting between Trump's envoy and Putin, Trump warned of sanctions if Russia doesn't agree to end its war with Ukraine by Friday. A federal judge is weighing whether to extend a temporary block on Mississippi's new DEI ban. House Bill 1193 would prohibit public schools and colleges from promoting diversity programs. Judge Henry Wingate heard arguments Tuesday but hasn't ruled yet. And Salt and Peppa are suing Universal Music Group, claiming the label is blocking their music and refusing to return rights to their master recordings. The duo says they met all legal requirements, but UMG won't honor their copyright termination rights. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
This year marks 20 years since Hurricane Katrina changed our city and our schools forever. New Schools for New Orleans is sharing After the Storm, a special series reflecting on the past 2 decades of change and progress in public education. Through videos, personal stories, and a powerful interactive timeline and data dashboard, we explore how our schools recovered, transformed, grew, and what that progress means for our students today. Discover the videos, data, resources, and stories behind the 20 years of change at newschoolsforneworleans.org/Katrina20.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta White. Shout out to my super producer, Nyron Sanders, and my co-host, Will Sutton, who is calling in from Cleveland, Ohio, as he attends the National Association of Black Journalists Conference. And we are getting ready to jump into conversation with 2 students, one from Xavier University and one from Hampton University. Leah Clark is from Xavier and Morgan Norris is from Hampton. They're going to be talking about the future of journalism and representation. But right now, I got to take a moment, y'all, because today is the first day of pre-K for my godson, Joel Ferrier. So I want y'all to say happy first day to Joel's in the chat. That is my godson. I am so excited. I cannot help that I had to be at work and I missed it, but my son went to the school to represent for me on my godson's first day of pre-K. And I got the pictures while I was on air. So if you saw me pick up my phone and started smiling, I was smiling because I got to see my god baby's first picture as a pre-kindergartner at Alice Hart. So happy first day, godson. I'm so happy for you. But right now, we are getting ready to join into our conversation Leah Clark, a student from Xavier, and Morgan Norris, a student from Hampton University, as they attend the National Association of Black Journalists Conference out there in Cleveland, Ohio, with our co-host, Will Sutton. Good morning, Morgan. Good morning, Leah. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
So much for having us.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Go ahead.
We're feeling great. We're working hard.
Yeah, it's been a busy week for us so far. We started before a lot of the other attendees, but we're excited to be here this weekend, or this entire week.
Shout out to Xavier. Shout out to Hampton.
XU.
Yeah.
HU.
And Carol Gant has joined us, Dr. Wyatt. Carol is a longtime friend, longtime NABJ member, and has been such an important part of the development of our NABJ student projects. From, we had a student newspaper at infancy, and that was some years after we got started as an organization, and then we developed NABJ TV, and now it's like this full-blown multimedia operation. And the sister in charge, large and in charge of all of the stuff, not just during the week, but dealing with things throughout the year to make things go, is Carol Gant. She is also executive producer for Roland Martin's daily show. And I'm going to hand my phone to Carol Gant to give you a little overview. And I think we have a message from Shaq Brewster coming up.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. It's an honor to have you.
It's a wonder to be on the show. Thank you.
Absolutely. So you work very closely with Roland Martin, and we're talking about the future of journalism and representation. How important is it for us to have representation that speaks to our lived experiences in the media space?
It's very important, which is why I decided to come back and give to these students. I actually went to a PWI, and I didn't get these examples. Actually went to PWI in Louisiana, but that's a whole other conversation. It's important, especially in the times that we're in right now with the attack on DEI and the attack on our history. We have to be responsible for telling our stories and making sure we're not being erased as they are trying to erase us at this moment. So it's very important to teach these students how to research, how to tell stories, and how to have their voices heard, and especially in this current environment, so we don't get lost in what's happening.
And so I want to hear, Carol, from the students, Morgan and Leah. What does it mean to you in terms of what does representation mean for you in the space of Black media?
Well, specifically, this is the National Association of.
Take it off, stay here.
So sorry. So, as I was saying, this is the National Association of Black Journalists, and that word "Black" is rooted in identity. So they're not just telling us to be who we are. They're teaching us how to be who we are in these newsrooms and in these spaces, how to be more professional, but also bring our culture to these newsrooms and make sure that the stories that are about the Black community are covered in the news media. And their main goal is to make sure that we are in the room, which I really appreciate, which is literally the definition of representation. So to really be rooted in my own identity and culture and learn how to be a better version of my culture and identity in these newsrooms is truly an honor.
So was that Ms. Clark? Was that
Yeah,
Leah
I feel like when you really look at representation, it goes a long way just to see someone that looks like you. I know that growing up, I went to PWIs.
We
I'm
have
from
feedback
Mississippi,
now.
so
It's
I went through
doubling.
a certain kind of childhood, and that was the reason why I wanted to come to an HBCU. And since coming to an HBCU like Xavier in a city like New Orleans that has so much rich culture that's rooted in Black identity, it's important to continue to see that when you move into the professional space. And it can often be really hard when you don't know how comfortable you can be with your superior, how comfortable you can be with someone, and how you could even find someone to be a mentor. Places like NABJ allows students, early professionals, to find that mentor and make it a little bit easier, because these are people who are already looking for you, already wanting to help you, already kind of that knows the ropes and wants to help you avoid the similar mistakes that they made.
And Carol, where do you see the future of journalism?
The future of journalism is so complex and it's so diverse. It could go anywhere because now you're adding the digital space to it, and there's so many different things you can do. We're getting away from traditional media, and there's so many ways people can be successful in this industry and being entrepreneurs and getting their stories out. So it's so big. I really can't say where do I see it going, because it can go anywhere at this point.
Well, let's talk about it, Carol. Let's talk about it from the lens of this attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the attack on NPR and PBS. Where do you see the future of journalism in that space with these attacks?
I see it being very complex in the sense that we have to find our own spaces. And I'm lucky to work for a guy who created his own space where we are able to tell our stories the way we need to tell them to get them out there. I feel like it's going to be more of those entrepreneurial journalists who see that in order for me to tell the story, to tell the truth, because I'm not going to get it somewhere else. And we're seeing that here at NABJ with the decrease in participation from some of these companies that are not here. So it is important that we find out what those avenues are so we can keep telling our stories so we don't get lost, we don't get ignored, and we are out there doing what we need to do to make sure that our stories are getting out there. And that's what we're teaching these kids.
I absolutely believe that's the only way we have to do it. So Leah, can you talk to us about how do you balance telling stories about your community with the responsibility to challenge it and hold it accountable?
Yeah, it's tough because you want to make sure that you're representing your community stories in a positive light. However, at the same time, sometimes you have to realize that in order to represent or bring the change you want to see in your communities, you're going to have to be a little tough. And that's the difficulty, and that kind of decision making is what we're learning here with people like Miss Carol and like all the other mentors. They're teaching us that you're going to have to be able to make that news judgment. You're going to have to be able to ask the hard questions so that when it comes time, you know all the information that you need to know, and you can be confident with that information enough to present it to other people so they can go forth with what is the truth. Because I feel like with the future of journalism, you kind of asked Ms. Carol that earlier, and I feel like right now there's a lot of distractions, and I think the only way you can really do that is by being confident in what you know to be correct.
And Morgan, Hampton University, one second, Will. Morgan, Hampton University has a legacy of producing strong Black voices in journalism. How has that tradition shaped your journalistic identity?
I mean, everything. We're the home by the sea. I mean, we are the home of the Emancipation Oak Tree. And I think that our campus, if you look at it, the buildings look so old, right? But it's about preserving history. We have had so many presidents that always talk about how we're changing from the inside out as far as keeping up to date with the times, but we are always going to be rooted in history. And I went to a panel yesterday at this wonderful conference, and one of the panelists were talking about, as journalists, we need to be students of history. We need to make sure that when we're covering stories, we see the trends in a bigger light, not just with what's happening now, but how is history repeating itself, and how can we cover stories in its entirety so that we know what's coming next, we know what happened in the past, and we can make those connections. And I feel that at Hampton University, that's what we do. We don't just train, we also remind this new generation where we came from, and also are getting prepared for where we're going as journalists in this current media landscape.
Well, Carol, it seems like the future of journalism is in good hands with Leah and Morgan, and so I'm excited. Go ahead, Will. Will?
Yeah. So, I want to make a connect here as one of the senior or elder members of the National Association of Black Journalists. I met a young man named Roland Martin when he was a student in Texas. And Roland Martin was dynamic then. But like most of us, we may have some talent, but we need some pruning, and we need some opportunity, and we need some experience. He got those opportunities. He took every opportunity he had, which is what he's done in his career, no matter where he has been. And that includes founding this show and creating Black Star Network, and identifying great people like Carol to help. You might not see Carol on air, but Carol makes things happen. And so Roland was our first national student representative, and he's an example of what can develop from younger people in NABJ, because that's a part of what we want, is to expose the young people to the various opportunities in journalism, and not just one thing, not for everybody to be on the air or not for everybody to work for a digital platform or a legacy newspaper, but to learn and develop these skills over time. The student projects have changed dramatically since we became an organization in 1975 to 1985 to 1995 to 2005, and now it's amazing and I think we have a clip that if it's available now, maybe we can get to that before we end the segment. But I think it'd be a good idea if Carol gives an overview. What happens at the student projects?
So what happens at the student projects, we prune these children for war, and I tell them that we're preparing them for battle when they get into these newsrooms, because that's what it is. Because a lot of these students, their first job, they may be the only one who looks like them in the newsroom. So we prepare them. And how do we do that? We start with boot camps as soon as after they get chosen. And those boot camps are for about 6 hours once a month on a Saturday. And we go through how to pitch a story, how to write a story, how to find a story, how to shoot, how to edit, how to write. We go through all of these things to prepare them for when they get here on convention day. They are hit the ground running. They get here on Monday, Tuesday morning around 7 o'clock. We're in the room having our morning meeting, and they're going out to shoot stories. And those stories, writing those stories, they go on broadcast, they go on a newscast, they go on a newspaper, they go on digital, newsletter, podcast, radio, and we have photography students. And then we also have students who learn how to manage the newsroom. They're the ones who are making sure people get out on time, equipment is there, all of those things. So we teach them every facet of this industry so that when they get their jobs, they're ready to go. And when they're ready to go, they can turn into amazing photographer, amazing journalists like a Shaquille Brewster, a Jeanette Reyes, a Roland Martin, who was in the first class of student projects 35 years ago. This is the 36th class of student projects. So there have been 36 sessions of this, and there have been hundreds of students who have gone through here who have learned so much, like a David Shealy, a Kayla Gardner, who did not want to be on air when we had her. She was the White House correspondent for Bloomberg and just got picked up by MSNBC as a political reporter. So we have these people who come through and they learn, like a Rachel Solomon, a Kristen Garris, a Yamishi, I don't ever say her name though, right? A Yamishi Al-Sadendor. Lord, forgive me if you hear this. I apologize for butchering your name. Those kind of things. But Nicole Majette and Aaron Haynes. We have a list of people. We had one student, David Shealy, who went through, couldn't find a job. He did a reel and put it on Twitter and got millions of views and ended up getting a job based upon his reel that he did, and he learned how to step out on faith and do these things. So we are absolutely preparing the next generation of journalists to be bold, to be bright, to be authentically themselves and show up in that room.
Well, we appreciate all of the work that is being done at the NABJ conference. We appreciate that we do get to have real representation, and we appreciate that the future of journalism, by way of our students, Morgan and Leah, the future of broadcasting and journalism is extremely bright. And we appreciate you, Will, for pulling in these folks so they can speak to our listening audience. But are we going to hear from Shaq Brewster as we're going out to break? Are we going to play that clip? So as we go out to break, and thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Morgan, for joining us and talking to our listening audience. But as we go to break, we'll hear from Shaq Brewster out of Chicago. Is he also at the NABJ conference? Everybody's at the NABJ conference.
Yeah, he is. He's actually doing a session with the NBC. NBC. He's with the Founders right now. Okay, because I know he was an NBC Academy thing. So he's also doing. We have an event this morning with the Founders, and he's there with them. So I love y'all too, but I need to go hang out with the Founders myself.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kara, for joining us. We appreciate you. But as we go to break, you'll get to hear from Shaq Brewster right here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good morning. Good morning. Shaquille Brewster here. I'm a correspondent with NBC News based out of Chicago, the Midwest Bureau. I am so sorry that I'm not able to be a part of this conversation, and it's because NABJ Student Projects is a program through NABJ that I just love so much. I genuinely, not putting on, I genuinely mean it when I say it's a program that I connect to my success in my own career. I did student projects 2 years, both in 2012 and 2013. It was a program that really I always credit for helping to build my confidence. The stories that we did there, some of my favorite stories still, and the pressure, the people that you get to work with, it really puts you in that real newsroom environment. And then it literally puts you in a newsroom, a studio where you go and present your work to your peers and to professionals in the industry who see you and see your reporting throughout the convention. So it is a fascinating program. It's such a great program. The mentors, the advisors, they really pour everything into the students that are selected for this program. And there's still some people who I contact day in and day out for advice or for encouragement or just for love. It's a real community that is built there. And I would love to share more about it, but just know I really mean it when I say this program is the real deal. The fact that NABJ has prioritized it, has done it even in the middle of a pandemic.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And we are back, and it is Thursday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, Nara Sanders, and my co-host calling in from the National Association of Black Journalists out in Cleveland, Ohio, Mr. Will Sutton. We want to thank Ms. Carol for joining us from the NABJ conference, as well as students Aaliyah Clark and Morgan Norris. We want to thank them for joining us on our last segment, but right now we're getting ready to jump into conversation with Jennifer Jones. She is a Google tech expert, and she'll be talking to us about back to school with Google and AI, the top search trends and tools for parents, students, and teachers. Good morning, Ms. Jones. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Hey, good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
No, thank you for being here. Look, anytime we talk back to school, it's always an exciting time. Well, I'm an educator, so it's always an exciting time for me. I know it's exciting for the parents because they're like, yes, they get to get out of the house. I get to have a little me time. And so with this idea of Google and AI and all of these advancements in technology, what should our parents know to be able to protect their children as they do begin to get into more technology by way of Google and AI?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, technology is the future, and if we talk to a lot of educators, what they have told us is that their most important job is to prepare people for the future. And, you know, I don't think it's breaking news that technology and AI are the future. So equipping people, parents and teachers alike, with the tools and the resources to be able to use AI responsibly is something that at Google we really emphasize. And I think a lot of our tools, we make them personal and accessible. People have come to Google for decades, Dr. Wyatt, for to learn everything from school, work, everyday life, and now is not really any different.
I actually want to come. I need you to teach me, because what does it take to be a Google expert? I want to add that to my CV. How do I become a Google expert?
I don't know how I ended up here. One day they just said, "Hey, you get that Southern accent on the radio, Jennifer." So no, I'm kidding. But lots of studying and learning a lot about our super cool products, which truly are changing every day. I'm sure anybody that's listening to the media knows that our AI tools are developing quickly and rapidly. But at Google, we're doing that, responsibly. We're innovating responsibly, and we really do want to help shape the future of learning. So we've been partnering with educators and with students to be able to meet their needs.
So what are some of the top Google search trends that you're seeing right now as students head back to school?
Yeah, good question. We've got a lot of folks who are parents are coming to Google. They're asking for help with basic things like homework. Some of those top homeworks happen to be spelling words, vocabulary words. Lots of folks are turning to Google to ask, how do I help my child with ADHD focused in school? Those are some of our top trending searches. And people also right now, you can't forget that back to school means back to school shopping. So we've had a lot of the best back to school sales has been a breakout search. People who are sending their kids off to college, and the kids themselves are looking for dorm loungewear is a breakout search. And then for first day of school outfit aesthetics, the number one top trending search is preppy first day of school outfits. Now, my niece Collins tells me that preppy is not just a style, but it's definitely a lifestyle, and that's what all the kids are doing these days is dressing preppy.
Well, Jennifer, I'm certain that somewhere in the top Google search by teachers is how many days until Thanksgiving break. Is that a search? Is that a top search?
My kids went back to school on Monday, and I am also thinking, when do we get to take a break from this?
So on a more serious note, AI is changing the way students learn. What are some of the most exciting tools Google offers to help with homework, studying, or problem solving?
That's why I'm so excited to be able to talk about this. Finally, just yesterday, we released a tool through Gemini, which is our personal AI assistant, and it's called Gemini Guided Learning. And it's just like it sounds. It is not just about giving you an answer, but it's about guiding you in the learning process, almost like a personal tutor. To really, understand a problem or a concept. It helps you build critical thinking skills about how to assess something. And it's a learning companion that goes with you step by step. So I'll tell you how it works. Like if you're stuck on a math problem, or there's a diagram you don't understand in your textbook or something in your notes, you can upload a photo of the math problem. You can upload the text that you're trying to better understand, and you click the guided learning button, and Gemini will explain, how to solve the problem step by step, how to understand the concept step by step, and really break it down in an accessible and personalized manner. This is available to all ages. There's no age limit on this. And you can get it on your desktop, and you can also have it right there on your phone.
That sounds like a wonderful tool for our students. So let's talk about how can families use Google tools to manage multiple kids, multiple school calendars, extracurriculars, and routines. How can Google assist in helping us manage our overwhelming lives as we juggle multiple children?
I know I only have two, and people who have more than two, I really don't know how they do it. And mine are little. But so many of our tools help you stay organized. Again, Gemini is great for for teachers and for parents alike. You can create lesson plans if you're a teacher. If you're a parent, it can help you make those vocabulary lists to review with your kids. And it can personalize them for the place that they are in their school journey, so their ages or what's appropriate. As far as like the daily schedule, that's something that everybody struggles with. Gemini is incredibly helpful to have everything around you organized, to be able to ask deeper learning questions and to be able to like help streamline grocery shopping by making you grocery lists or meal prep or anything to help keep your home organized, that helps keep your kids organized, that helps keep your life from being totally crazy.
So we've heard about Gemini guided learning for our students. We've heard that Gemini can help our parents stay organized as they manage multiple kids with multiple school schedules, curriculums, and routines. Is Gemini also able to help teachers better engage students and manage classroom tasks?
Definitely. So with our Google Workspace for Education, that is a tool that we offer teachers. We have offered now for teachers a suite of AI tools and all kinds of like starter prompts in that Gemini in Google Classroom that can help you get moving on your lesson plans, that can help you get moving on creating an interactive experience for your students. It's something to help you get started, and then you can continue to iterate with Gemini on these lessons plans or these learning opportunities, or you can just take that Gemini nudge as a great way to start and then continue to build on it on your own.
No, but Jennifer, I think you thought I was joking. I am so serious. I really wanna learn. Is there a way folk can just go on to the platform and teach themselves, or maybe Gemini can help us navigate how to better learn to work with Google? Because I think a lot of us interact with Google on a very surface level. We don't know all of the wonderful tools that Google has that could assist us. So is there a way a person like me can go on and just take like some sort of like training or module to better assist me as I navigate this Google and AI?
100%. There is a ton of resources at Google. You can learn AI skills for your career or just for yourself. We have AI training at a concept we call Grow with Google, and that is free. It is free access. Mm-hmm. It's training that helps you with your job search support for students or job search support if you're already out in the workforce. It helps you learn how to use AI for all kinds of career-related tasks, for your personal life, for studying, for exploring career paths. That is free to you, and you can do that at grow.google/student. It's totally free.
Grow.google/student?
Yes.
Well, Jennifer, I really, really appreciate all of the tips. I appreciate all of the expert advice as to how to navigate this Google tech. I want to get to expert level, so maybe I have a whole lot of work to do. I got to get on the grow.google/student and teach myself how to better engage with AI through Google. Well, I appreciate you for joining us. I appreciate you giving our listening audience these tips. Gemini seems to be the way. Gemini guided learning for our students, Gemini workplace for our teachers. Yeah. I appreciate you. You got to promise to come back in the midway of school. Like, this is the start of school. Come back to us at the midway point and talk to us about what you're seeing in terms of the trends.
I would be happy to.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I appreciate you for joining us. Have a blessed one.
All right.
Listen, we talked to Jennifer Jones, who is the Google tech expert, talking about the back to school with Google and AI. And right now we're getting ready to jump into conversation with Stephanie Willis from Entergy, talking about this Energize NOLA Community Fair and Back to School giveaway. Good morning, Stephanie. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me on this morning. I'm really excited to let all the listeners know about the community fair that we have coming up on Saturday.
Well, listen, thank you for being here. And I don't know if you got to hear the previous segment, but Jennifer Jones, who is a Google tech expert, she was here giving us all of the tips for back to school with Google and AI, talking about those top search trends and tools for parents. And I'm so excited to learn more about the Gemini guided learning for our kids and then the Gemini the Google Workplace for our teachers. I don't know if you missed that segment, but it was really, really fun. It was quick, but it was fun to get those tools. And right now, you're going to talk to us about this fair that is coming up on the 7th. Is it on the 7th, or no? Is it today, or when is it?
It's on the 9th. It's
on the 9th, not the 7th,
Saturday,
the 9th.
on the 9th.
Okay,
Yes,
so it's happening
from,
Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. Can you tell us where and what can parents expect?
So it's Saturday. I'm so sorry. It's Saturday, August the 9th
Okay.
from 11 to 2. Parents can expect to receive some school supplies. We have some backpacks, folders, pencil cases, pencils. So it'll be a great time for the kiddos, but at the same time, it'll be an amazing time for the parents as well, because we'll have some energy saving tools there. We'll have our Energy Smart team. We'll have customer service representatives there, just to help the residents in the community learn and understand more about their bill and how they can be more energy efficient. And so it's a family affair. We want everybody to come. Mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, cousins, grandma, grandpa, everybody. We'll have some food. We'll have a DJ. We have a bouncy house, and we have some really great activities too.
So I know you're giving away some
Wow.
backpacks with school supplies and some energy-saving tools, and attendees will be able to connect with local resources. But here's the vital question. Do the kids have to be present to be able to get the backpack?
Yes, we would love for the kids to be there, to be able to obtain a backpack. But, we understand some situations may be a little different, but we would prefer for the children to be there. That's an awesome question. Yes.
I appreciate that. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. I mean, it sounds. I'm in Cleveland. I'll be here till Sunday evening, but that sounds like a wonderful event. I wish I could get there. Sounds like a wonderful opportunity. I want to highlight one of the things you said for parents, which is the energy saving tools and resources, which I don't think enough people know about. So yes, I don't know anybody who doesn't pay energy some money for something. But one of the wonderful things as a customer is this wonderful set of resources, how you can save energy for no cost or low cost. And so the fact that you're doing that as a part of what you're doing on Saturday is a wonderful opportunity for folks to learn what they can do to reduce the bill that they're going to pay energy anyway. But you don't have to pay as much if you follow these tips.
Absolutely. And I completely agree. Not as many people in the community know about these programs. And that's why we want to be out. We want to educate everyone. We want to let them know that this tool is available. And, we will do our best to help the community to be able to save on their bills and to be able to make their homes more energy efficient.
And again, we want to reiterate that this event is taking place on Saturday, August the 9th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the 3900 block of Duplessis Street in New Orleans. This event is free and open to the public. And again, the kids they prefer for the kids to be there to retrieve a backpack, but you'll also get to hear tips on how to save on your energy costs. There'll be some tools that will be share it with you so that you can save. Everybody likes savings. I know I do, because I often wonder why my bill's so high and I'm barely ever home. And when I am home, everything is turned off except my TV. I'm confused about that. But anyway, attendees will be able to connect with local resources. Can you talk to us briefly about what some of those resources are, Stephanie?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So we'll have some individuals, our community partners. So we'll have individuals from 18th Ward, the Council of Aging. We'll have STEM NOLA will be present. They'll be doing some great activations with the children. It's more so community partners that we work with all the time that will be there to provide some resources as well.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you guys are doing this, and it's a wonderful opportunity. I know there are a number of back-to-school events, but they offer some different things. I think this is going to be a wonderful opportunity, and thank you so much for coming on and sharing these things with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Stephanie. Have a blessed one.
You do the same. Thank you.
Listen, we want to thank Stephanie Willis for joining us, talking about the Entergy Energized NOLA Community Fair and Back to School Giveaway. Stephanie is the Director of Public Affairs with Entergy New Orleans. They are hosting an event on Saturday, August the 9th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the 3900 block of Duplessis Street. There will be live music, food, face painting, snowballs, and a science zone for kids featuring our Arcs and Sparks demonstration. This will be fun for all ages. They will also give away free backpacks with school supplies, energy-saving tools, and attendees will be able to connect with local resources. So if you are available on Saturday and your kids are still in need of some school supplies, please consider going to the 3900 block of Duplessis Street on Saturday, August the 9th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. courtesy of our partners at Entergy. We want to thank our guest, Stephanie Willis, Director of Public Affairs, for joining us. We're going to go to break, but when we come back, we're going to lean into some news. I hope y'all keep listening because we're going to keep talking because, listen, there's been an update about these thrown away files. The folk actually went to the landfill and recovered quite a few files. We're going to talk about that and a lot more right here. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Another hot and stormy day is on tap. We'll start with a few coastal showers, then scattered storms develop throughout the afternoon. As we get that daytime heating, though, it shouldn't be as intense as yesterday. Highs climb into the low to mid 90s with low temperatures tonight into the 70s. A few showers may linger overnight. More 90s and daily afternoon storms continue for the rest of the week on into the weekend. For the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month, we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060. Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta White. Shout out to my super producer, Nara Sanders, and my co-host, Will Sutton, who is attending the National Association of Black Journalists Conference out in Cleveland. And I know I told y'all we were going to talk about these missing court files, but we have such a treat that I'm going to put that story on pause because we're being joined by American journalist and author, commentator, the one and only Mr. Roland Martin. Good morning, Mr. Martin. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing great.
Roland?
Thank you for joining us, Roland. My good alpha brother. I'm an omega, but
well, you know, y'all
Roland
got to bow
reminds
down
me
to
that I
alphas.
could have made a different choice all the time.
y'all got to bow down to alphas, but it's all good.
We're gonna start.
And you got a Sigma Gamma Rho on the line here.
How you
It's
doing,
all good.
Roland?
Alpha's all y'all daddy. It's all good. We appreciate all our children.
How you doing? Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we were talking. What does it mean for the National Association of Black Journalists and our role in making certain that we have proper representation and that we also hold our communities accountable, but we also amplify the Black excellence that is undoubtedly present in media spaces. Can you talk to us about this attack on representation by way of diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Well, first off, listen, this position that I've had my entire career is very simple. If you do good, we'll talk about you. If you do bad, we'll talk about you. At the end of the day, we'll talk about you. That's always been my position. And so the role that we have to play when it comes to these newsrooms, you have to understand you got to go back to the race riots of the 1960s when the Kerner Commission was established. And they did not agree on much. They couldn't come to a conclusion on a whole bunch of stuff, but they did come to one conclusion, that there were two Americas, one white, one black. And they faulted media for a lot of this stuff. And so what happened was the first wave of black journalists in mainstream white newsrooms took place post-Kerner Commission. You're talking about that report came out in 1968. So really between 68 and 75, you saw your first wave. Of course, National Association of Black Journalists founded in 1975, about 44 journalists. And again, people have no idea. We talk about the things that we cover. We talk about the things that we report on. But people have no idea the stuff that we kept from getting in the newspaper and on the air because we brought cultural competence to the newsroom. And so it's even more important today. You're seeing tremendous contraction. Just moments ago, the Trump administration approved the Paramount-Skydance merger. Donald Trump has weaponized the Federal Communications Commission, where the FCC chair, Brendan Carr, is literally demanding companies get rid of their DEI programs before the FCC would approve anything. We've never seen anything like this. We are here at this convention, massive. Normally we have 75, 80, upwards of 100 companies recruiting. This year it's 35, 37. And so there is not a single black nonprofit in America that has not been impacted by the vicious attacks on diversity, equity, inclusion. And I need people listening to know what that means. We're talking about funding of Black History Month programs, Black Music Month programs, just regular, ordinary programming in our communities. And so you're talking about we're talking about billions of dollars. Speakers bureaus have talked about seeing a 60, 70% drop in bookings. We're talking about colleges and businesses and others. And so I have made clear that what we are seeing from Donald Trump and these racists in his administration, we are seeing a massive effort to defund Black America. They want to completely destroy and eradicate the Black civil rights, economic rights, social justice infrastructure, and they do not want to see us in newsrooms. And this is an absolute economic calamity that too many of us are not paying attention to.
And I think it aligns itself with the topic of your book, White Fear, how the browning of America is making white folks lose their mind. Can you talk about a little bit about your book? I know you want the folks to buy it, so don't give away all the good stuff, but just let's touch on it a little bit.
I'll be honest. Unfortunately, everything that I just outlined, I hate to say it, but I called it in 2009.
Yeah.
In 2009, a poll was taken, and the question was asked, are you optimistic about the future of America for your children? African Americans, Latinos, Asian Americans, Native Americans, majority said yes. The only group where it was a minority was white America. In September 2016, a question was asked, are you optimistic about the future of America economically for the next 10 years? Black people, lowest wealth, highest optimism. Latinos, second lowest wealth, second highest optimism. White America, highest wealth, lowest optimism. So what you're seeing white America angry and upset that they aren't having kids, that you in more states in America, the average white death rate is higher than the average white birth rate. And so you're seeing a wholesale attack on anything that's non-white. And that's what you're seeing. You are seeing in real time these folks who say, we are not letting y'all take this country. We're going to change policy. And see, people need to understand, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, what they are trying to do is solidify white power for the next 100 years. They are scared to death of 2035, America becoming a nation, majority people of color. And that's what you're seeing. And again, I saw this back then, and I hate to say that it's happening in real time.
Yeah, and one of the portions in your book that stuck out for me, because I'm an educator, and you have a part of your book that says, when we don't address white fear, American classrooms will continue to be even more segregated than they were before Brown v. Board. You also talk about a part of it that I can't say on air, but you also say, without appropriately addressing white fear, we aren't doing anything more than spraying air freshener in a room filled with dog sugar honey iced tea. Can you talk to us about your stance there?
Yeah, we have to call it what it is. We have to say it. Right now in Texas, okay, what's happening there? Understand, the largest Democratic caucus, African Americans, okay? They want to eradicate. They want to absolutely destroy. They want to destroy black advancement. Right now, the Supreme Court has already ruled on that 2nd congressional district in Louisiana. They've already ruled on that. Now they're trying to have a second apple at the bite, and they potentially could rule unconstitutional these black districts.
Right.
That could wipe out 25 to 30 congressional black caucus members. Missouri is trying to wipe out Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver's congressional seat in Kansas City. We are seeing the 5 in Texas. We are seeing an absolute wholesale attack on black America, and too many of us are not awake.
And this is the other portion that stood out for me when you said, when we ignore white fear, people of color will continue to be redlined into poor, underserved neighborhoods and gentrified out of their communities where they have lived and built family legacies for generations. That speaks so heavily to me, because we're watching in real time that happen right here in the city of New Orleans. We're watching in real time it happen in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where these white folk were able to carve out their own community with the monies from right? We're watching this happen in real time.
That's American history.
Yes.
Will, go ahead.
You covered that St. George thing on your daily show with Gary Chambers and others, and appreciate your attention to Louisiana as a part of your national programming. And just yesterday, you had a wonderful segment on the Voting Rights Act. So I just want to make sure that our listeners know that it's good for you all to hear from Roland Martin on the Good Morning Show on WBOK now, but you can hear Roland Martin every day on the Black Star Network.
Yes, sir. Every single day.
And not only, I mean, it's a bunch of ways, because he also has Roland Martin Unfiltered. That's a daily digital show. You can watch it live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It replays at 10 p.m., 2 a.m., 6 a.m., and 10 a.m. And you can also buy the merch. And I don't know, Roland, that Don't Blame Me, I Voted for the Black Woman. Yeah, that you did that. You did that. I like that. I like that. But I also want to ask you, we have a book. There's a book club thing happening in November by way of WBOK on the Front Porch, and we would love to add your book, The White Fear, into the conversation if you will allow us to do so. One of my colleagues here has asked me to ask Roland Martin if he would participate in our book talk for our book club on the Front Porch. The Front Porch is the show that follows mine. We would love to have you. We would love to talk about your book in that discussion.
Shoot me an email. We'll try to schedule it.
I'll make it happen. So I'll take care of that.
So Roland, what is the takeaway here? We got a couple of minutes, and I want you to talk about the urgency, because as you were talking about the gerrymandering that's going on, we know that Jasmine Crockett's seat is in danger if we allow these folk to do what they're doing in Texas. But what do you say to Governor Gavin Newsom's response? He's saying, if you could do it in Texas, I could do it in California, to force you to respect the citizenry.
I've made clear that Democrats believe in fairness, justice, equity, things along those lines. but your opposition believes in power. And I've always said for a long time that you have to respond accordingly. And I think Democrats are now waking up to realize that these people do not care. They are scared to death. They're going to lose the House, and your response you have to meet fire with fire. And that's exactly what happens. And so Democrats in California, in New York State, in Virginia, in Maryland, in Illinois should absolutely say, you take out 5 hours, we're going to take out 10 of yours.
Yeah. Yep. That's the only energy they understand.
Absolutely, positively. And Roland, what is your take on, we've had the National Association of Black Journalists for 50 years now, and I met you as a young man when you were a student. You've done so many wonderful things, been our first national student representative, but we still have some people who want to be journalists who happen to be black, as opposed to black journalists.
But we've always had those folks. We've always had those folks. We've always had those journalists. We've always had those folks, but what we have to do is, and then those folks also going to get their Negro wake up call. I've been in newsrooms where that happened, and so what we have to, our job, again, as somebody who joined this organization in 1989 as a student at Texas A&M, who's now 56, we have to actually reach the next generation to get them to understand what their role and responsibility is. And so that's what's important. And so that's what our job is. We have to walk them through those things and teach them so they can understand what their role and responsibility is. Their role is not to sit in that newsroom. And what I always say, I'm not interested in you being present in the newsroom. I need you to have presence in the newsroom. I need your presence to be felt. And you bring all of you. And so, yes, you are a journalist who happens to be black, but you are also a black journalist. Those two things are not in conflict.
Well, Mr. Martin, I certainly appreciate you finding time to join us here at WBOK. We appreciate what you do each and every day on your platform to bring the real to the airwaves so that people can understand what is happening around us nationally. Your voice is incredibly important in this fight, and I thank you for joining us for these few moments. I know you're extremely busy, but we appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it. Y'all take care. Thanks a lot.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right.
Listen, we have had quite the show. There's been we have so many guests. I think this might be a record, but I want to give a shout out to our congressman, the one and only Troy Carter, for availing himself each and every Thursday to the WBOK listening audience, as well as the students from the National Association of Black Journalists, Leah Clark, a student at Xavier University, and Morgan Norris, a student from Hampton University. I also want to thank Jennifer Jones, our Google Tech expert, for talking to us about the back to school with Google and AI and those top search trends and tools for parents, students, and teachers, as well as Stephanie Willis from our partners at Entergy, talking about that Energize NOLA Community Fair and back to school giveaway that is happening this Saturday. I want to thank her for joining us, and that special guest that we had just a few moments ago, the Roland Martin, for talking about the attack on representation and what it means to be a black journalist, not just necessarily a journalist who happens to be black. I want to thank all of you guys and girls and women, young ladies, for joining us today. But I want to give you a heads up on our guest tomorrow. We'll be in conversation with the board president of the New Orleans Real Estate Brokers Association, talking about a community housing fair, building communities and generational wealth. She will join us tomorrow, but that fair is happening Saturday, August the 16th at 9:30 at the Desire Florida Multi-Service Center, which is 3520 Industry Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70126. So if you want to hear more about that fair, tune in tomorrow. You'll hear from Pamela Landers, the board president of the New Orleans Real Estate Brokers Association. It's been quite the show. Y'all stay tuned. Up next for the Front Porch with Graylin and Kimber. As far as the Good Morning Show, Dr. Ashanta White, my co-host, Will Sutton, and my super producer, Nyron Sanders. We gonna see y'all tomorrow, and y'all tap in tomorrow because I'm giving away 2 tickets to the Comedy Fest. Y'all, I'll see y'all on the other side. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.